go on then.
Right. Because we don't know where we are, we'll go back to September 1959 when I came out of the army.
Right, yeah.
In September. Go back again, it was August. And then I messed around, didn't do anything. And then one day I was on the bus going over to Walney, because I don't know whether I mentioned that we moved over to Westminster Avenue on Walney. I was going back home on the bus and I met the foreman that I'd worked for up the top yard, and he said, "Oh, you're coming to work on Monday?" Because he said, "There's an opening for you. We've kept your job open for you, so you can start work on Monday." And I thought, don't want to go back to work, because I didn't want to go back into regular employment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mess around, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went back on the Monday, and that was for 40 years before I got let loose.
Do you regret that decision?
So I don't know whether I regret it or not. So I ended up the top yard. There was only about 5 of us looking after the top yard, the electricians, the plant workshop.
Yeah.
So the first boat I worked on, and I've been shouted at for this, I should have called it the ship, was the Oriana.
Oh yeah.
It was just being launched. The Oriana.
That's a good first ship to cut your teeth on, isn't it? Bloody hell.
But I think I mentioned the first one was the Carl Schmiedemann, way back in the 50s. That there was the oil carrier.
Okay, yeah.
When I was on the engineering plant. Yeah. So I worked on that. It was just doing temporary lights and stuff like that, and whatever else was needed on them. Because we used to look after we had temporary lightmen who looked after the temporary lights on the boats when they were fitting out. Yeah. And we had to put the fuse boxes in for them. And then these temporary lightmen just used to rig the strings of temporary lights up. Yeah. And they worked from our shop. Right. Cabins scattered around the yard. Yeah. I think there was 13 berths on the go then, 13 or 14 berths. But they didn't all have ships on. Yeah. They were just there, you know, ready for use. So I did that, and did odd jobs, and then I got the job of looking after the boiler house. Right. Which was the boiler house fed all the top yard with the heating. It was superheated hot water. Yeah. That fed big radiators in all the shops up the top yard. Right. There was a boiler house with 3 Lamont boilers in, and every morning I had to go down there 7:30 down to the boiler house and make sure everything was running. Yeah. So I used to spend till brew time till 9 o'clock in the boiler house, drinking tea, and the boilermen that were on used to make me breakfast for me. So I used to have breakfast down there, and then I had to go back to the shop to get the jobs. Yeah. You know, because as the jobs came in, they were dished out to the electricians to go out and look after the jobs. So I used to go back to the shop and then maybe get another job anywhere up the top yard. Yeah. So I used to have to go in wherever, in the assembly shop, down the west shop, the pipe production shop, go in any of the shops, compressor house. There was the boiler house, the shipyard substation, and then the compressor house. The compressor house had the big compressors in that provided all the compressed air throughout the yard. Right. I used to have to look after them as well. Yeah. So that was that, and then, as I say, I used to get allocated odd jobs and go and do them, and then I got the tower cranes to look after, because the bloke that looked after the tower cranes, Johnny Coverdale, he was retiring, so they gave me the tower cranes as well. The great big ones up to number 13, I think it was. 14.
Where were they at, tower cranes?
On the berths.
Right, okay.
Down the berths.
Each one, yeah.
And then the cranes were in the shop. We used to look after them as well. So I had that to do. When they wanted a heavy lift, you know, if it was over the capacity, over 40 tonnes, we had to go and short the limits out so they could lift over 40 tonnes. Just used to be a little, what they called a stirrup, you put it across. It's just a piece of bent copper that went over 2 connections, and that was the shorting strip. So,
so it couldn't register the weight?
Yeah,
right.
Because the limits, they used to trip out at 40 tonnes. Well, that's another story that I'll come on to. So
you ought to hope that the health and safety executive are watching this back.
Well,
They
they want health and safety then. There was no health and safety. Because I'll tell you a story about that and all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I used to spar shed, joiner's shop, the odd jobs. So anyway, I started getting into a bit of a routine. And then the boss come to me and he said, why don't you look after the airfield? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the planes are coming in now. We've got a regular service over there. So we need somebody to go over the airfield and put the lights out, because the lights weren't fixed permanent.
Right.
We had 2 generators.
Right.
And big lights like that, great big sodium lights, and we had to put them out 100 yards apart on the runway that the plane had come in, because the planes come in into the wind, and they take off into the wind.
Right.
So they used to come over the slag bank coming in and go out to sea going out into the wind. So there was only 2 runways. There was slag bank to the sea, and then there was one going over towards Millen.
Yeah.
Then there was a perimeter track going round. Well, when we went over, it was, well, say it was 50s, 59.
Yeah.
The Air Force had just left it. All the Nissen huts were there.
Oh, right.
The Hannahs were there.
Yeah.
And we had to chase the sheep off the runway.
Yeah.
Because in the winter,
the
shepherds brought the sheep down to graze from the bad weather.
Yeah.
And the shepherd used to come down with them, and they lived in one of the Nissen huts.
Oh, right.
So he lived on the site virtually.
Jesus.
And we had to go over, when I went in, used to go in because we worked at site at 7:30.
Yeah.
I used to be in about 15:15. When I went in, the boss used to say, airfield this morning.
Yeah.
So 7:30, a wagon had come. I'd get 4 labourers.
Yeah.
And we'd pedal off over the airfield, put the lights out on whichever runway was going to be used, depending on the wind. We had Ronnie Walbridge, who was the air traffic controller. They had a shop in St Luke's Street, up the top end, opposite the fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
But he was never there. So I used to have to go, the wind's blowing that way, we'll put the lights out here. So we used to run the generators out, put the light and run the lights out off the back of the wagon, and then start the generators up and just let them run. Yeah. So that was that, and then later on we got the fire engine, one of Vickers' old fire engines that we left over the airfield. Yeah. And we used to put the lights on that and tow the generators with that. I used to drive the fire engine.
Yeah, well, it must have been interesting to see like that after the war. Because you forget that's what it was used for, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That bit.
and the hangars were still there.
Yeah. Was there out in them? Like, had it all been cleared out?
We went into one when we went over.
Yeah.
And it was full of oil. The outhouse, there were cans of oil in it. So the foreman,
liberated them, did you?
Yeah, but the hangars, there was nothing in the hangars.
No, right, okay.
We used to play football in there.
Yeah.
Because we had to wait till the plane went.
Yeah.
And then to bring the lights in.
Yeah.
So it was generally dinner.
What was the plane doing in that sort of era? Was it for
just Vickers
workers to go walk down to Bristol, London, or like similar to now?
Because the foreman, he one time he had to go somewhere, radar, because we had radar.
Yeah.
In Wales.
All right, no.
No, there was a gear cutting thing, I think,
right.
in radar.
Right.
Not radar, it's RHYDER.
Right.
So he was asked to go down there. They said, you'll have to go in the plane. And he got on the plane and he said, I'm not going in that. He said, why not? He said, the wings are flapping.
The little flapperons.
Yeah. So he wouldn't go. Jackie Hunter, because Jackie, he ended up as my foreman.
Yeah.
But when I was an apprentice in the engineering side, he was my journeyman for a spell.
Yeah.
Nice. Jackie, and used to go out boozing with him and whatever, and then he became my foreman up the top yard, so we got on well. So later on, so that was, I had the boiler house to look after, I had the airfield to look after, and the tower cranes to look after, and then we got it was put in before I got there, the German rolls down the West Shop, which was a big roll for doing the plates for the boats. And that was put in by the Germans. That was 1958, I think. They came over and put it in. It was a big, massive machine. So I had that to look after as well. So that was some jobs they had to do. And then there was those were specific to me, if you will. And all the other little jobs in between, because you weren't always doing them, only the boiler house. That was every morning. And then the airfield as and when, and then tower cranes as and when, and the German rolls as and when. So
busy then for your age. Just really out of your time, really.
We were up at by the main shipyard gate. That was our work, the workshop. And then there was all the way down to the West Shop to cover. All the way at Walney Bridge. And the assembly shop, the big assembly shop, the berths. There was all that to look after as well, that we had to keep going with 4 or 5 of us. I think there was only 5 and 2 on nights. So there was a lot. And then there was the welding squad. There was I think there was 3 on the welding squad that used to look after the welding machines. We were just the plant. So anyway, so after a while I got in the habit. I used to go down the boiler house, and then from there I used to wander through the pipe production shop. I didn't used to go back to the shop. I just used to wander through the pipe production shop, and the people in there knew me. So if there's any jobs, there's a fuse blown here, and this won't work, I used to do the jobs, because we were on piecework then.
Right, so go on, how did that work then?
Well, you got a time for a job. If you did it suppose you got an hour for doing a job. Right, if you did it in half an hour, you got twice as much money.
Oh, so
piecework.
Yeah. No,
So
you're still you're getting paid for the job.
You get paid. Then from there, I used to wander into the West shop. This was in the morning. Go into the motorman's cabin. The motorman looked after the motors, oiled them and greased them and all that. They had a cabin down there. Used to go in there and have me a cup of tea and sit and wait for jobs. Because they had a phone. And the boss knew where I was then. So I used to phone down the West shop and say, there's a job in the West shop, such and such a base, come in. Or there's one in the assembly shop. So you can come back through the assembly shop and do the job. So that'd be a morning. That taking a morning. Or there was cranes on the plate field. There was two that run on the trolley wires in trenches. That was a hell of a job in the rain. If the trolley wires burst, broke, you had to go and fix them. Then that was that. Then after dinner, it 1 o'clock. So we started again at 1. So 1 o'clock, my rounds were in the joiner's shop, which was just outside our door. Go in the joiner's shop and see if there was any jobs doing there. But if there was a job, you got a job to do. But I just used to wander in there, then go through the shipwrights into the spar shed. Go around Southgate, into the spar shed. Go around there. Go into the bolt store and anywhere around there. And that was me.
Do you tour?
So just doing a tour. And getting paid for it. Then later on, when we did the big tanker, I got the job down there building the shanty town, because it couldn't go through the dock gates and it was down the deep water berth. It was fitted out virtually down there. Down the deep water berth.
What was the shanty town then? What was that?
Well, when you went down Ramsden Dock Road. Because when you went down
towards the Belfast berth.
And
all that,
Well, the deep water berth's down there.
Okay.
So the ship was there, but all the workers on it used to work out of huts. So called it Shanty Town. There was fitters, there was all sorts of outfitters and all the lot. So I did the first hut down there. Wired it all up. The squad ran the big cable down, pretty big cable like that along the dockside wall into the big switchboard and this, that and the other. So I got put in charge of that.
Bloody hell.
Looking after that.
I think I've heard of that. I think I mistakenly thought people lived in them, but that might have been pre the flats.
No, that was the black huts.
No, I know the black huts, but I think before the flats themselves were built, that was
No, there was black huts down there. There's the black huts over there.
There's more.
There was more down there. I had some pictures and I lent them to somebody and they disappeared. So they were down there. Because in the old days, Ramsden Dock Road, there was allotments down there. When you went right down, there was allotments and garages down to the harbour master's house. Because I went to a party in it once, because I knew the lass, and you could wander around there. In the old days. Anyway, this shanty town was there, and it was when they were doing the grading. People were getting graded A, B, and C. So you had to go and see the boss and blah blah blah. And he said, "I'm making you A grade." I said, "Well, I don't want to be A grade because you got more money." I said, "I don't think I'm good enough." He said, "I think you're good enough. You're A grade," and that's it. So I was only young. What would it be? I'd only be 24, 25.
So this is still not long after you came out of
not long after
the
I
army,
came
yeah.
not long after I came out of the
Service
army.
time, yeah.
So anyway, all the old uns didn't like me giving them orders, you know. Anyway, that was, but it was all right down there because in the end they got generators.
Right.
They had generators, Rolls-Royce generators, and you got your oil changed overnight on your car. All the secrets coming out.
Yeah, no, yeah. I watched all this turning off from the
It don't mind. It's gone now.
Oh, God,
but one time, they were putting what were they doing? They were putting something on the superstructure, and they had a big stick crane up. It was about 80 or 90 foot high, and it was mounted on the deck.
Right.
Of the ship,
Yeah.
maybe not that high, maybe me exaggerating, and it was just, you know, about as big as this table.
Yeah.
The crane, lattice work with a big jib coming out, and they put it up, and people put it up, coming in the cabin one day. We had a cabin, obviously, come in and said, the gin is stuck on the jib. That's, you know, which ran the hook out. It's stuck and we can't get it to move. You'll have to come and have a look at it. So I said, well, how do we get up there? Oh, just up the ladder, you know, going up a ladder. Nothing there, only this thing.
Jesus.
So got up the top, and I said, well, there's the roller path. That's what the crane turns on round. I said, how are we going to get past the roller path to get out onto the jib? Because the jib was on top of that.
Yeah.
He said, oh, well, you'll have to get out of there and grab hold of that and then pull yourself up. I said, anyway, I did it.
Yeah.
And I got on, and this chinny was about halfway down the jib. I said, how am I going to get down there? Oh, like this, and this bloke had got up first, and he just walked along the
oh my God!
And I thought, oh. Anyway, it started moving, so because there was the height of this, and the height of the boat as well.
Massive, bloody hell!
That's another little story about. I had an apprentice with me. Called Beddoes, Gordon Beddoes, who was the head plater.
Right.
His son knew everything, didn't he? And I went up the tower cranes with him because we used to have to change the lights. Yeah. They had big lights over the side that shine on the berths. Really big shovel fittings like that. Yeah. And they were on pivots, so to change the bulbs, so the bulbs were like that, the lamps. I had to get hold of them and bring them up, so you could change them from up above. But I used to say, get hold of my feet, and he used to hang on my feet. I used to. Anyway, I took him up one day. I said, right, we're going to change these. He said, I can get this overturn this crane. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'll show you. I'll overturn it. I said, what you? So he went on the jib end, right on the far end, just went like this, got the movement going, and the crane started. If you keep going at a rhythm, that's why soldiers have to break the step going over a bridge. Yeah, otherwise. Because you get the vibrations, so you'll stop that.
What was it? What was he called? Gordon Beddoes' son? He must be a relation of Malcolm.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I think he was his younger brother.
Oh, his brother, right.
Yeah. Because Gordon, I don't know whether Gordon was his
dad.
Yeah, his dad.
I thought it rings a bell.
Gordon, Right. So down the deep water, but I thought I got another job and all when my afternoon walk. they'd got a, because I went to London. I worked in London for a spell. When I was in the army, I learned Morse code, and I mentioned the reperforators.
Yeah.
Well, they got a computer-controlled burning machine,
Right.
Vickers,
Yeah.
that was built by British Oxygen. It was a try on this.
Right.
And what it was like a centre cabin with two big arms that came out with burners on,
Right.
and they burned port and starboard plates at the same time.
Right.
You know, so...
Right, okay, yeah, got you.
So this was in the prototype stage, shall I say.
Yeah.
So it was controlled by these tapes. That was it. They ran the tape through a tape machine.
Is that with the same type of code? So was it on the perforators? That was Morse code that you would type on it, was it?
It wasn't. It was a code. It was COBOL.
Oh right, really? Cobalt's a programming language.
Yeah.
On computers now.
Well,
Yeah.
We've got COBOL.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that was the old days.
Yeah.
I had to learn that.
Right.
To look after these machines. So I ended up going to Croydon, where they made the reperforators for Vickers. I was down there to learn how to maintain the reperforators.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to British Oxygen and Ferrantis, I think it was, that were building this big machine to learn all about it, how to build it up. Then they brought it through to Barrow and put it in the West shop.
Yeah.
I think it was 6B or 4B or something. That's when I nearly caused a strike, sheet metal workers.
Because of what, the machine, or?
Yeah, because of the machine. Because I went and to install it and to learn how to install it and then maintain it when it came here. There was another lad went with us, Ray Monkman. He was in the computers. He came from the ship's side. No, when it came, the cables for it were laid in troughs, concrete troughs, and they were fastened to cable trays. Yeah. And I put the cable trays in, and the sheet metal workers said it's our job. So there was a lot of hoo-ha about it, but I got away with it. So that was the other story. So that was doing that, wasn't it? And then the boss came to me and he said, "We're going to start doing planned maintenance, but it means going on nights. Right. How do you feel about going on nights?" So I said, go on nights then. So I went on nights, and what you had to do, you had to check the machines out. You had so many machines to do overnight, this planned maintenance, to make sure everything was right, so they didn't break down.
Preventative,
So used to get different things, get cranes to do in the assembly shop. Used to get in at 7:30, drive them to the middle of the bay till brew time, and then go back. And then used to do the inspections. And then some nights we used to go into the, there was a fitter as well, used to go into the joiner's shop. That used to be full of cockroaches when you went in. You could see them all rustling on the floor by the brew. We used to go in there and do the machines, and when they were doing the Methane Princess, and that was balsa wood, and between the hull and the balsa wood was like, there was a hull and the balsa wood. The balsa wood was in big strips and it'd be glued together. And that was the big machine in the joiners. I had to look after that. And then on nights, when we used to go in with the fitter, we used to do our jobs. And then, because there was polystyrene as well, big blocks, it was about that thick. Polystyrene blocks between the hull and the balsa wood. used to get on one of them and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I was in there one night. I was on my own.
Yeah.
And didn't put the lights on.
Yeah.
And what was I doing? I was up the top end doing something. I had the lights on.
Yeah.
Just up the top end, not the full shop. You know, you could put it on in sections.
Yeah.
And I was checking this machine, and all of a sudden, I heard this machine start running down the bottom end. And I thought, what the heck's that? What's running? When you're on your own, it's dark, nothing there. Anyway,
what was it? Was it no one?
Well,
no,
I plucked up enough courage,
and
I went down because the machines were all belt driven,
right?
Overhead belts,
you
know. So the motors were down in the cellar,
right?
The one we used to have to fumigate. You know, when I told you about Ginger Palace, because that's when it was a joiner's shop.
Yeah.
And I went down the cellar, looked around, and nobody there. And this machine was running away. And what it was, when they turned it off, there were hand controllers.
Yeah.
You know, they had little copper fingers like that, and you touched them to speed it up.
Right.
Different ones speeded it up.
Yeah.
Different coils. Well, somebody had left it on the first coil, the first section.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't go because there was too much resistance in it.
Right.
But when it was on for a long while, it started getting warm.
Right.
And it lowered the resistance.
Right.
And when it lowered the resistance, the motor started to run. And it was that.
God, I bet it was terrifying. I bet the yard was the scary place, and like those times, like that sort of era and that time of night.
Yeah, and then so what was he doing up there? No, I had a job doing the offices at night. There was something to do, so there was no lights on in the offices. You know, the where you're going through the gatehouse.
Yeah.
Because the firemen used to do the rounds.
Right.
I went to do this job, and walking along the corridor, and I heard the fireman. Didn't have a torch or anything because you know you knew your way around.
Yeah.
So it must have been on a half turn. I know it was pitch black because there was somebody with me. And he said, "Shall I put the flashlight on?" I said, "No, just leave it."
Yeah.
So we're on this side of the glass door. I said, "There's a fireman coming on the works guy. Just stop here. Just stop here." I heard him coming along the corridor. I said, when he gets near the door, I said, "Just shine the light torch on your face." And that's another job I ended up with as well. At the end of the assembly shop, where the garages were, the cordons are sectioned off, and they had the mock-up of the submarine.
Oh yeah,
in wood.
Yeah.
I've
heard about them. Fifth scale, is it? What first scale?
No, these were full size.
Right.
It was a full size one.
Right. Full units and that.
Yeah, made of wood.
Right.
It was a big section of it.
Right.
And that was, you couldn't go in. I don't know whether I told you. You couldn't go in without you had a pass.
Right. Yes, you did. Yeah, about the director that got.
Yeah. Sir Leonard. Well, I told you about the smoke detectors, didn't I? Did I tell you about the smoke detectors?
Not sure.
Well, they had smoke detectors in case it set on fire with it being wood.
Yeah.
They were every so often round the boat, you know, different places. Well, if one went off, I had to go and check on them. And one day, I looked at one and I thought, oh, that's radioactive. So I told the health physics bloke, I said, you've got radioactive. Oh, I'll have to shut it down. Anyway, there wasn't enough in it.
How did you know it was radioactive?
Because it had the sign on it.
Oh, right. Oh, Jesus.
On this little thing. There wasn't enough to worry about it. And then one kept going off. And we didn't know what it was. And we found out it was a hole in the sheets, because it was partitioned off with corrugated sheets. There was a hole in the sheets, and when they were welding, the welding fumes were coming through and setting this smoke detector off.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out what it was till we found out in the end. Yeah. And then that was another job I got. Used to work the summer holidays to load test all the cranes.
Right. What, when you're in Vickers Fortnight, was that?
Yeah, I used to work Vickers Fortnight. Yeah. And then I used to have the time off later on in the year, Christmas. Used to save it what I could for Christmas.
Yeah.
For be off with the kids. So I used to have to test all the cranes in the shipyard.
Yeah.
That was the tower cranes, the shop cranes, and the ones down the dockside in Shipyard Fortnight.
Yeah.
Used to have an engine with the weights on a railway wagon that used to drive round because there was railway lines in the yard.
Yeah.
Used to drive round and test all the cranes with the weights.
Yeah, you can still see some of the railway lines now, the central yard and that,
Yeah, so that was another job. That was the summer holidays.
So what year is this taking you up to now then, all these jobs?
Well, up to 66.
Right,
when I transferred to the staff.
Right.
So I had all that lot to do.
What was happening in your personal life in that time, so between...
What was happening?
59, was it 59 to 66? You're saying there?
Yeah.
So your 20s.
59, that was motorbiking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Motorbiking and carring. Motorbiking, carring. Just messing around.
Yeah.
Getting drunk and whatever else. Met your mum. Yeah. Met your Nana.
Nana. How old were you when you met Nana?
I must have been about 25, 26. 25, right. I was trying to weigh up the other day. I had one or two girlfriends before.
Yeah.
We were just biking.
Yeah.
Motorbiking and driving that old car. And then, what else did I? Yeah, got it going on a holiday. Just messing about. I was going to tell you the story about going way back.
Yeah.
Way back, 52, 53, when I was 17 or 18.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night, we used to go through to Morecambe on the train.
Yeah.
To the Peter Ballroom,
right,
which isn't there now.
Yeah.
At Morecambe, £0.50 return on the train to Morecambe to go to the dance hall. Go to the dance and then come home at midnight on the whip. And that's when I had the fight on the train. I told you I stopped fighting. I had a fight with a lad called Ray Maguire, the same as my mate's name over there. But it wasn't him.
But he was from Barrow?
Yeah. Well, we were coming back. Knew him from the yard. We were apprentices in the yard. And we had a fight over a girl or something. I don't know. So we were fighting in the carriage.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Some used to be compartments.
Yeah.
And some had carriageway down the middle.
Yeah.
So it was on one of them.
Right.
We're in one of them, and we're fighting down the middle. And we ended up in where you got on by the door. You know, the door to get to get into the passageway.
Yeah.
And we're fighting away there. And I got him, and they had him hanging out the window while the train was going. And they had to pull me off him.
Bloody hell.
So I ended up with a black eye, but I don't know where you ended up. But
Well,
that
could have been dangerous. Yeah.
it could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been. Anyway, so that stopped me fighting. So, right, so up to 1966.
So 66. Well, go on then. So in that period, you met Nanny, did you? Before 66, is
Yeah,
that?
before 66. So it'd be, when did we get married? 63, I think.
Oh, you got married in 63?
I think it was 63.
Right. Okay. Well, carry on with the order you tell me. If you're going to come
how
back to...
How old's your mum?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? I think... she's 61.
61?
Yeah. So she was born in 63.
Yeah, so 62.
63, right.
62 I got married.
Oh, so you've skipped all that and you've gone to testing cranes and Vickers Fortnight and you forgot about the birth of your first child, your marriage. Don't worry about any of that. Tell me more about the cranes.
Well, you were talking about me work.
I know you're carving it up more. Well, carry on with the way you were going, but then obviously we can come back to family and that.
I was going to tell you something. 62. Can't remember. I remember more of me working life, I suppose. Yeah. So my working life. So 66. We were on piecework. Because you were going to talk about because that's what we started on.
Yeah. Well, we'll carry it. We're going 40 odd minutes. We'll carry on talking about work, and then we'll do one on family, and then you can do.
Because you said you were going to do that.
Yeah, you'd be more of a train of thought then about family. That's better, isn't it?
So 66, we're still under piecework, because that's where my lasting legacy is, on the wall of the.
Oh yeah,
of the office.
The infamous.
Yeah, I'll have to go and take a picture.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, me and Amy are talking about it actually. Yeah,
It's still there.
And what was that for? Why was that there again? What was the job that you did?
Because looked after heating system.
Yeah.
At Christmas, I was virtually the last one out.
Yeah.
Because they had to sort the heating system out, so it'd come on and go off at the right time.
Yeah.
And then one year they decided they didn't want it, so they stopped. They knocked the heating system off.
Yeah.
And that's when they sprung a leak and all the drawing offices got flooded.
Right.
It was a heck of a mess.
Yeah.
So I had to go around and set the clocks so they came on, so it kept running.
Yeah.
But they decided to shut the boiler house down that year. And then that was another job I got after I did the planned plant maintenance. I was doing the planned maintenance, and then on nights, planned maintenance on nights. On days, the chap that looked after the general offices, that's the big office block, there was one chap based in there all the time.
Right.
We had a little cubby hole above the power service room, I think it was, in the offices. He changed the lamps and did the odd jobs around the offices. He was retiring, so the boss said to me, "How do you fancy doing the offices?" I said, all right, don't mind.
Yeah.
So I was doing a fortnight on nights, planned maintenance, and a fortnight in the offices, doing the offices.
What, on days?
On days,
right.
That was a good job. I could go anywhere.
Yeah.
But going, "Oh, hello, Sir Leonard, how are you doing? Oh, what are you doing then? I just come to see you." "Oh, no, not today. What are you up to?" So I could go.
You get around, yeah.
So that's how I come to know the directors.
Right.
A lot of the directors.
Did you enjoy that more than nights then? Nights must have been a bit different.
It was all right because you could go and sit up there. And nobody bothered you.
Yeah.
You just got a phone call. You know, there's a job here, a job there. That's where I learned to make keys because there was a joiner up there.
Yeah.
Reg, plumbing there. I can see him now. The joiner, he was the mayor at one stage. Anyway, he was the joiner, and he used to make keys, you know, with file the keys.
Right, yeah.
That's where I learned how to make keys.
Right.
Because when I was in the shop, it had a key for everywhere.
Yeah.
He used to come to me, have you got a key for the cupboard upstairs? Jimmy's not in, the boss. What do you want? He had great big bunches. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the drawing office saga. And then we still had rate fixers, and the head rate fixer came to me one day and he said, we're starting a new department. Huey McKinley, he was called. He was the electrician's head rate fixer. Yeah. He used to fix the rates for the job.
Yes, yeah.
You know, he'd say, go and change that lamp. You've got to get a pair of step ladders, climb up, take you 5 minutes to do this, 5 minutes to do that. An hour to change the lamp.
Yeah. So
that was an hour.
Yeah.
So I did it in under an hour.
Yeah.
That was it. You could work out double time.
Yeah.
But you didn't get your rate wasn't the same rate as pay. So if you're on 10 shilling an hour,
you didn't get double that, but
you didn't get double that.
But you
the rate was say a shilling.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got
like a portion of it.
So you got 2 bob.
Yeah. Right.
So you got an extra 2 bob for changing a lamp or some silly amount like that. So you got your 10 shilling plus 2 shilling.
Yeah.
So that's how you made your wages.
I bet it got jobs done, didn't it? We don't do that now.
No, but this was work study.
Yeah.
But it wasn't work study because, anyway, he came and he said, we're starting a new department, work study department.
Yeah.
How do you fancy doing it? I said, I'll have a go. And Jimmy Dixon, the boss, he said, I believe you've been approached. I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to stop you. He said, I don't want you to go.
Yeah.
I said, oh, fair enough, Jim. He said, I'm just telling you, I don't want you to go.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, anyway, this Huey McKinley, he said, you'll have to take an exam.
Yeah.
And if you pass the exam, you can start on the job. So I said, right, all right. So I said, you won't be working for me. I'm working for somebody else. You know, I'm not the manager.
Right.
I'm just section leader.
Yeah.
Should I say? So I said, right, that's all right. What am I going to do? Well, it's electrical work.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, fair enough. So anyway, it came to pass that I passed the exam. Me and another chap out of the plant, the electrician's Charlie Morris, he passed. So we started on the electrical side. There was fitters, joiners, plumbers, all.
Was that the first time they'd done that?
This was the work study department, but it was under the head of the piecework department, which was Wilf High. Because the piecework department was the welders.
Right.
You know, they got so much for each foot of weld that they completed.
Yeah.
So he was our boss.
Right.
And Huey McKinley was our section leader, if you will. For the electricians. Then there was one for the joiners and one for head rate fixer. Yeah. So that was how work study started.
Right.
So that was me on the work study.
And were you physically going and timing people doing it?
Well, my stopwatch is somewhere. What it was, you had to go out and time people.
Yeah.
You had to get a sense of time. We used to do training. Used to go outside the gate and watch people walking.
Yeah.
And see how fast they were walking
Yeah.
on the stopwatch. So 4 miles an hour was average.
Yeah.
So you had to gauge it.
Yeah.
So every little job that you did, we used to time it.
Yeah.
And time it again until you got an average.
Yeah.
You know, one man would do it faster than another.
Yeah. So I've seen the books of norms that came off the back of that I've seen before. I'll go way back, because obviously I was in the build estimating department.
Yeah.
Same stuff, but just on computers. But all the old guys, one of them was an electrician, George Attrill, lives where Kate used to live. And he had these books going all the way back to the 60s, 70s, all printed out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable detail.
Yeah, well, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, stopped to pick his nose and things like that.
Yeah.
So there might be some of my work in there.
There will be, I'm sure. I'm sure it'll be built on top of what.
Somewhere.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah. So that's what we had to do.
Yeah.
And then I used to, nearly got the sack.
All right. Yeah.
Because the big boss come round one day and he said, I want you to leave on your desk where you're working.
Right.
So if I want you, I can get you.
Right.
Not Huey McKinley. He was again this big boss. He didn't like him.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what do you want that for? I said, I don't know where I'm going to be. I said, I'm watching somebody. Used to get somebody to watch.
Yeah.
Or you pick somebody and say, I'm going to do this job, I'm going to do that job. I haven't got any time for this. I said, I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm not leaving a note on my desk. I said, if you come looking for me, I'm not there. You're going to play hell, aren't you? So, sod off. So anyway, it spread around the office, didn't it? And there was a few of us wouldn't do it. Some of them said, oh, yes. So he had us all in another office down below, and he said, right, are you going to fill this? I said, no, I'm not. I'm not filling it in. And these others were umming and ahhing. Anyway, he called me in his office later and he said, I'm going to sack you. He said, you're the ringleader of it. I said, no, I'm not. I just said, I don't want. Anyway, my boss come to me and he said, I've talked him out of it.
So you didn't have to sign it.
So that was that. So, yeah. Anyway, I went to do exams. I used to go to night school, even though I didn't like night school when I was, because that's why I didn't want to be in the offices.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like being in the offices.
Yeah.
So I went to the Institute of Works Managers. I did a course on that, and with one of the director, one of the managers, Ronnie Bostwick. He was had something to do with the Institute of Works Managers, and he used to go on that. He used to go to the library. We did law, personnel. There was 3 subjects we did. Anyway, I did that course, and then I used to go to Lancaster College of Further Education.
Yeah.
Used to go there for the Institute of Work Study Practitioners.
Right.
Used to go there once a week, I think, once or twice a week. Well, that's another story. We had to go there, but it started at 6 o'clock. So there was 4 of us out the office, decided we wanted to go on it. John Winwood, Harry Thompson, and me. And who was the other one? I can't remember the other one. I know there was 3 of us, the 3. And you had to go and see the personnel officer, Dorian Freeman. he was in the army. He was in the Air Force, transferred to the army, and he was in the Royal Corps of Signals.
Yeah.
So whether or not that was why I got on with him, well.
Yeah.
So went to see him and said, right, we're going to go to Lancaster, and how are we going to get there? Oh, well, we'll give you £2, 5 shillings, I think it is, for the train fare, and 5 shillings for a meal.
Yeah.
I said, we're going to have to leave early, you know. We're going to have to leave at 3 o'clock to get there for 6. Oh, right. So, right. So, £2, 10 shillings you can have a week for going there. And then went back to see him again and said, look here. He said, you have to get a voucher.
Yeah.
I said, if you give us the money, I said, it'll make it easier for you, won't it? So we used to get £2.10 a week off him for going to night school. We used to go in the car.
Right. And pocket the rest.
And pocket the rest. So every third week you had to pay.
Yeah.
So that was Donny, and I'm still in touch with his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Freeman. He lives down Rhode Island. Yeah, so that was the work study side of it, where I did quite a few years in there, didn't I? There's we had free reign, you know, because you were on the staff, weren't you?
Yeah.
So with the top yard job and being the engineering side and the dock side, I knew the shipyard.
Yeah.
So with us being on the staff, because we had white overalls.
Yeah, ooh, get you, yeah.
We could
nice and clean.
Yeah, we could wander anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the staff, so you were sort of trusted, weren't
you?
Yeah. And then people knew who you were.
Yeah.
So we were all right. So you could wander around all over.
Yeah.
And and did a fortnight of 12-hour shifts with the health physics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that was just in the infancy. That with Reg Nichols and Alan Winstanley, they were the head surrounds then.
Yeah.
They came from Sellafield.
All right. Yeah,
Alan Winstanley came, then Alan Nichols. Reg Nichols, he died of cancer of the thyroid because he was, you know, radioactive must have got to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So go on then. What year did that take you up to? Because we're at the hour, but what? So we remember next time when we start.
So
that was.
So where were we? We're at. I was still working as a work study officer.
Yeah.
Until 80, wasn't it?
Till 1980. All right, so a good old stretch of time.
To 80.
Right, okay.
So it was like 14 years.
Right.
Doing this, that, and the other on the work study.
Right. After you had your time gallivanting around top yard, being an electrician.
Yeah.
Getting your breakfast cooked for you.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to do next time? Should we do family stuff next time?
Well, you can do family stuff because I'll have to think what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know.
Right, I'll wrap that one up there.